Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Buzz Thomas. I'm the interim superintendent of the Knox County Schools. We appreciate you being here tonight for the first of several conversations we want to have about the superintendent selection process and your future superintendent. I want to let you know that this is the beginning of something that will continue for a period of time while we solicit information from the public. The first meeting, of course, is here tonight. Next Tuesday night at 5:30 at Bearden Middle School, we'll do a similar meeting in partnership with the PTA and their annual meeting. So we'll have a lot of folks at Bearden Middle School next week. And for folks who are not able to be at either one of these sessions, we have set up a special website online, and we can give you information about that in a minute. And also, we've made it real easy if you want to just send us an email. We're collecting all this in one email address. And I'm confident, because of my knowledge and respect for our board members, that they're going to want to hear your feedback all the way up until the day they hire somebody else. They want to hear from you, and as I told a lot of media outlets today, I think one of the reasons you don't see many people here tonight, one reason is we didn't have a lot of lead time. We wanted to wait until we had a new school board chairman elected so that person could be involved in helping us steer the process. And as you know, we didn't elect a school board chairman last week, so it set us back a few days. But I think it's also because the community right now feels very good about the board members that they have. They feel like they are being represented, and the people that are on our school board have been listening to you for a long time and are going to select the kind of leader that you will feel good about. But, again, we're going to create a number of mechanisms to collect public comment anyway. I want to introduce a few of our board members who are here tonight. We've got some board members that are traveling. I just got off the phone with one board member who is out of town. Jennifer Owen, our new board member, is here tonight. One of our new board members, Terry Hill, another of our board members, is here tonight. Amber Roundtree is here tonight, and we have another board member here. No? All right. We're expecting Gloria and Lynn, but they both got tied up in traffic. I'm also pleased to have the head of the KCEA, my partner in a lot of this work, Lauren Hobson, here tonight. Lauren, we're grateful to have you here. So tonight we want to ask you, we want your comments on a couple of things. First, what kind of person do you think we ought to be looking for in this school district? And I shouldn't say we, meaning myself, but our school board. This is a school board decision, and the most important decision they make, who's going to lead our district forward. And we want to hear from you about what kind of person do you want to see them hire. These are your schools, not just our schools, and we want to make sure we know what you're looking for in a superintendent. The other thing we'd like to invite you to comment on, if you've come tonight, is the process. Are there certain things that you think we should do in that search process? We'd like to invite you to also comment on that. So both the superintendent, what kind of experience, training, etc. are you looking for, and would you like to see our school board look for? And secondly, if you have any thoughts or advice about the process. Okay, I want to thank Mike Reynolds. Mike, are you, the principal of Central High School, who's there in the back. I've already introduced our school board members who are here tonight, and I want to introduce our main liaison to the community, Jeannie Delaney. Jeannie's done a lot of this kind of stuff, and she will do a good job tonight. So, Jeannie, thank you for being here, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Buzz. Yeah, my role is just to facilitate the discussion tonight and sort of keep us on task and on time, and primarily to make sure that everyone gets heard. And I think we'll be able to accomplish that. We have a good-sized group to do that. We do have microphones that we want to use so everybody can be heard in this large hall. And so we will get those to you as you have your comments. And I don't know that we necessarily need ground rules, but I think it's always helpful just to mention that we do want to make sure, as I said, that we're all getting heard, so maybe not talk over each other, maybe wait till you have a mic before you make your comment. And I have a wonderful scribe here who is going to capture your thoughts. And Ms. Coatney is also keeping notes, so we make sure that all of this gets typed up and consolidated and given to the board for their use. So it's very important. And we're shooting the video as well. Yeah, we've got our videographers up there in the back. So this is, it's all going to funnel into the whole process, so we really do appreciate you all being here to share your thoughts. If you feel like Abby has not totally captured what you said, feel free to revise or add. We'll stop and make sure we get that, because we really do want to get it as totally as possible. I will sort of suggest you try to keep your comments as succinct as you can, just so we can make sure everybody gets heard. So, and we're going to try to keep, this is a futuristic conversation. What do we want going forward? Maybe on what's happening, Prentice? I think it's going to be okay, as opposed to maybe commenting on anything out of the past. So again, here's what we want to hear from you all. We want to hear what characteristics you would want to have in the next superintendent, so some personal aspects. We want to hear what you think about qualifications, what kind of experience, background. Thank you, Prentice. And then also, as Buzz said, the process itself. What would you like to see happen with the process? All right, with that, I'm done and ready for you all. And do I have someone who would like to start with their comments? Got someone right here. Thank you.
Thank you. I may share this with you, Buzz, first.
Awesome. Thank you.
My name is Carl Wheeler. I'm a resident of Knox County. I have 2 sons, both graduated from the Knox County schools. Started out at ball camp. So they've been through the whole system. I saw your ad, your flyer, I think it was, regarding this meeting. So I wanted to just read off a couple things. And the school board members, I'll be glad to share a copy of this with you when I finish. And I'm going to preface everything by saying he/she, okay, because it could certainly be a female. The first thing I think is important is that the person must be from outside of the Knoxville, Tennessee area. Okay? I think the person that we look for should not be from the Knoxville, Knox County area. Okay? Thank you. He or she must have superintendent experience. He or she must be a former classroom teacher for a minimum of 5 years. Must be a strong supporter and committed to public education. Not ready to give the ship away just yet. He or she must be a great collaborator, that is, work well with others. He or she must be guided by a singular question, and that question is, what is the best for all of our students? He or she must be focused on community involvement and community partnerships. Must be a strong leader with vision, a strategic thinker, and a problem solver. Obviously must possess excellent communication skills and be a great communicator. Must be of high moral character. Must be a highly competent professional. And the last thing that I want to say is that I think that whoever is on the committee, the steering, not the steering committee, excuse me, but the initial committee for selecting the superintendent, those individuals should be known to the public, and they also should be members of the school board. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being prepared. Who would like to go next? We have mics over here. We've got mics over here, so we can get right to you. We got one here.
We went through something like this at West just a few months ago, and within probably less than 48 hours later, a new principal was named. So I'm curious if there's already a long list, already a short list, already a super short list.
There's no list.
Good. Okay, so now I don't feel like I'm wasting my time. So I have one point, which is that superintendent should care about the arts. Care about the arts, okay?
All right, who's next? Oh, right over here, Clifford.
As a former CTE teacher in Knox County and a business owner here in Fountain City, I feel like our students should be learning more real-world experiences, and we need a superintendent that's committed to preparing our students for the real world with real-life skills. We've been very focused on data, and that's great, and we've eliminated a lot of CTE programs that are giving our students the ability to actually have real-world skills and get jobs when they leave. So I'd like a superintendent that is committed to CTE, but most importantly to teaching our students some real-life skills when they graduate, not just graduate.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Thomas has asked that if you're comfortable doing so, please identify yourself too as you speak. So, who's next? Thank you, and a former teacher. Great. Yes, sir.
My name's Max. I need to push a button or anything. My name is Max Hauser. I'm a retired teacher with 42 years of education experience at all levels, elementary through secondary. One of the things I think we need for now is a hiring freeze, particularly in the central office. I don't think we need any revamping until we get a new superintendent in place. Another big concern of mine is, I'm not sure it's on the list, but we need someone with a focus on students. We need, right now, a child can go into the 9th grade at any high school. They can be well behaved. They can perform, make C's and D's, graduate and go across the stage, you get a diploma, and no one knows him. That's who was that? These students need to be identified early on. The principals and the counselors need to work with them to move them forward. That's what the private schools have over the public schools. They know their students. They work with them and move them forward. So that's what we need to focus on, mainly, is the students and progress for all students. If that is done, we will have a higher graduation rate, we'll have higher test scores. We do everything for the students at the top and at the bottom, nothing for the ones in between. And they go through like cattle, they graduate and go out and a lot of them become unemployed. So we need to work and focus on the students and what they're doing and how to help them move forward.
All right, thank you, and thank you for your 40 years of service. Who's next? Yes, right back there.
Natasha Patchen. I'm okay with a local person. I think we've got plenty of local people who would be quality superintendents. I wouldn't like to see anyone from the Broad Academy. I think we need someone who is child-focused and not data-focused. We need to focus fully on our students. I don't think we need to be wasting any time on writing mission statements, having visions, or any of that other gobbledygook that's wasting our time as teachers and taking the focus away from our students. I think we need someone with teaching experience and administrative experience, and we need someone who is willing to work with KCEA, because KCEA represents the teachers who are on the front lines helping and teaching the students every day. We know what the children need, and we need to be listened to. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Yes, sir.
My name's Dave McCroskey. I've got 3 children in the Knox County system right now. I've got a 13-year-old in 8th grade at Carter Middle. I've got a 11-year-old at Carter Middle in the 6th grade who is autistic. I've got a 7-year-old in East Knox who is a little bit behind, and we're trying to catch up. So I've got kids in all 3 stages of education. And what I've seen since I've got custody of these 3 grandchildren is the kids that tend to do well in school are pushed, and the teachers pay a little more attention to them. And I'm not knocking the teachers, not in the least. But what we need is someone who's going to lead these kids, or lead all of our kids back to the basics, because they need to know the basics before we even start spreading out and teaching them the arts or music or whatever they want to go into. If they don't know the basics, then they're not going to be anything when they get out anyway, because that's the main foundation for all of it. These kids are great, all these kids. I'm not talking about mine, I'm talking about all of them. And I think that we could have a very great system if we get a superintendent who has had experience in the classroom, has also had experience on the administration side of it. And I agree with what this gentleman up here said to an extent, but I don't think we need to actually have to go outside of Knox County area to find somebody like that. We may have them here. I'm not saying not to, because if there's somebody out there that's better, that can help them more, then yes, of course. Because that's my main interest, is making sure these kids learn what they need to learn. I've spoken with several teachers. I've spoke with other parents, and everybody seems to be in the same agreement that we're wanting to spread out the knowledge and give these kids a wide base of knowledge, which is great. But then again, we're getting away from teaching them the basics.
All right, thank you. So I hear a focus on the basics with the new superintendent. All right, who's next? Lauren? Oh, I'm sorry. We'll come right back to you. All right.
I'm Lauren Hobson. I've been a teacher with Knox County for the last 15 years. I'm currently the KCA president. 2 things that I would like to see. First, in regard to teachers, is we've talked a lot recently about being able to attract the best and brightest talent to Knox County schools. I think we do need to do that, but at the same time, we need to keep the talent that we have. We've bled teachers the last several years, and I would like to believe that some of those are people that we're just fine without. But I also know that we've lost some extremely good teachers, and we need to have a superintendent that can work to value those people and to keep those people from leaving. Right now, we lose teachers every year to surrounding counties for a variety of different reasons, and there's no reason that we should be doing that. But the second thing, in terms of our students, I kind of want to mirror what 2 of the previous people said. We need someone who is not just focused on academic test scores. We need someone who is going to be a champion for the arts, who's going to be a champion for vocational programs, because the buzzword that we have now is making our students college and career ready. The problem is we seem to have a very narrow vision about what career means. And I think we're shortchanging a lot of our students by forcing them into one track for what their career should be. We have students that are going to make their careers in the arts, students that are going to make their careers at things that do not require college, and we need to be providing them the support and education that they deserve as well. We've got to broaden our vision for that.
Thank you. And buzzword being no pun intended, right? Okay, we're over here with this gentleman.
My name is Nathan Robinson. I'm a student teacher, actually, making a transition from another career. I'm going to just reiterate the experience. I know a lot of people have mentioned it, but I just kind of want to drive it home. Minimum of at least 5, 10, 15 years would be preferable. I like what Mr. Thomas has done and surrounded himself with existing teachers for his advisory. I'd like to see that. And to kind of add something a little bit different, I'd like to see a little bit more focus on STEM, or actually STEAM, to incorporate arts into it, and kind of provide students more opportunity to work on problem-solving skills with arts, engineering, using science and technology and math.
Thank you very much. Yes, Carly?
Thanks. I'm Judy Sullivan. I teach here at Central High School. This is my 25th year teaching. I hope that we can find someone who does have classroom experience and some administrative experience. I want someone who will focus on our children and what is most important for them. Part of what's most important for our children is having good teachers in the classroom and doing a better job at retaining good teachers, because she's right, we do lose a lot of good people. And it's not just because they can make more money in other places, although that's a big part of it. I think it's also important, I teach English, core class, I teach honors classes, but all of our children need to have lots of options, and it's not just going to the University of Tennessee. We need to make sure that they are prepared for wherever they go, and that might mean more CTE programs, that might mean more community partnerships, and I want somebody who will pay attention to that.
Thank you. Little editorial, you look about 25, so I don't know what Mr. Reynolds is doing, but maybe giving out vitamins, so yeah.
Excuse me. I want to say one more thing, please. Someone said we needed someone from outside of Knoxville. I want to say we have many wonderful people in Knox County Schools are just as capable as being superintendent as anybody from New York, San Diego, Miami, or wherever they might come from. But I think we need to give those people a chance just as if we would anyone who was from outside the system.
All right, thank you for that addition. Someone who maybe has not spoken yet, do you have something you would like to add? Yes, sir, here, and then we'll go up there.
Okay, my name is Dave Gorman. I'm a teacher in Knox County. I'm also the co-president of SPEAK, which is students, parents, and educators across Knox County. And we've made some recommendations that I won't go through tonight, but they are on our Facebook page. But also, just thinking about a good candidate, I want somebody who's brave. I want somebody who clearly speaks for students and looks after students. About 2 years ago, some 60 superintendents in the state of Tennessee signed a letter stating their opposition to the inappropriate testing and the focus on using TVAS data to crush teachers. And our superintendent chose not to do that, but there were 60 people who I think should, that qualified them to at least be considered as our superintendent, because they showed bravery in standing up against the State Department of Education, Kevin Huffman, and that's what I would like to see. That felt really good, and I'm sure for those people working for those superintendents.
All right, thank you so much, Carly. There's a lady in the back.
I'd like to see, I'm a parent in Knox County, I'd like to see somebody who has an understanding of the special education system and special education law. I am quite convinced that Knox County is in no way compliant with federal law on special education. It's not collecting data, it's not following many of the rules, and I'd like to see somebody who actually takes an interest in that population. And also, in addition to the special education population, somebody who understands the special education process might also have a good feeling for the process of RTI and some insight into how to help the kids who are not succeeding in reading. There's a large population of people with kids with dyslexia who can't get their kids tested properly in Knox County and can't get services they need, and the new superintendent has to be able to get a handle on that, in my view. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Right here? All right, Clifford.
Sorry, I have to turn around and face you. It's a teacher thing. My name's Heather Wallace. I am a former Knox County teacher of 15 years, and I have left and gone to another system. But first and foremost, I am a parent. I have a first grader and I have an 11th grader that's in this building every single day. First graders up the street at Shannondale. I think in a superintendent, first of all, we need to quit worrying about their location because we have a ton of people in this system that are highly qualified, to use the buzzword, and they have the knowledge and the experience that this system needs. The last two haven't shown me too much as a parent or as a teacher. So I'm saying that we need to worry less about the demographics of it and worry more about the fact that they need to put the focus on the kids. They need to give teachers the autonomy to teach in their classrooms, to teach their curriculum. They need to give them the standards and let them teach them the way that their students need to be taught. Because the way that I taught in Lonsdale is far different than the way that Lauren taught at Halls. Because my kids needed something different than what her kids needed because of where they came from. And as a teacher, as a professional, I know that. Any professional worth their salt knows that. They know their children. They know what they need. Give them the autonomy to do that. Have faith in your teachers and give them the ability to do their job. That is the most important thing outside of giving the kids what they need.
Thank you so much. Someone who has not spoken before we maybe do seconds. Yeah, right here.
So I'm Tanya Coates. So when I think about a superintendent, I can touche agree with all has been said, thanks to Mr. Carl Weaver that just gave us a long list that took all the words out of my mouth, right? But we still need to work on disparities in education, that someone knows how to funnel through those challenges. We still have challenges just getting the economics in regards to supplying the needs for our kids here in Knox County, and we need to make sure that it's fair and equitable across the board. So Heather alluded to that it's different at Lonsdale versus Halls, but it's different from the north and the south as well. And we need to make sure that there's a balance in our district in regards so that our superintendent can do that. So I think about the money aspect of a superintendent. They need to actually have the background of having this budget, being able to balance a budget and do what's best for the kids first, and doing what's best for the district last. I mean, so it may sound weird, but when you do what's best for kids first, again, I know I heard someone talk about that. You're doing what's best for teachers as well, because that is our environment, are the kids, and we treat the kids as if they were our own here in this district. So I'd hope that they have some idea about how to balance a budget, not so much of just making sure that we have balance on one side or the other, but making sure we're doing what's best for kids when it comes to the budget. That's just one of my pet peeves. I know that almost 10 years ago, we were probably at zero. We were in the negative. And people don't realize that we really just don't have the money, and that someone that can reach out to the community and build collaborations. I would hope that they would do that as they do for charter schools. They would do that for public schools. I'm a public school advocate. I went to public schools. I think that they need to make sure that that is foremost very important for all of us. And I probably have a long list, but again, like I said, a lot of what's been said I really agree with, but I think one of those are challenges that we just don't have the funding, and they need to figure out how they can reach out and get the funding for our district.
Okay, important. All right, anybody sort of here in the middle toward the back that would like to add? Now's your chance. Don't want to pull you in if you don't want to, that's fine. Is there anything about the process itself that you all would like to comment on? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Could I ask a question? The question is, if my understanding recalls, is that we go through, I'm not sure if we did this about 8, 9 years ago, whatever it was, 10 years ago. But the process, to my understanding, is it that they get a list of people, and then the board ciphers through it. How is the process? Maybe we could do somebody just help us out about that. How do we? How's it
Who
going
wants to
now?
address that?
The board has not decided on the process. That's part of what they will be doing on their retreat, October 21st and 22nd. They wanted to invite public comment prior to the retreat, but on the retreat they will talk about process, about timetable, about whether or not they want to have any assistance from an outside organization or firm. So they will be talking about all that on their retreat. And the public is invited to that.
So I think what they might like to hear from you all tonight are any thoughts about the process. Just
I'm Lance McCold, a community member. About the process, I think it's important that it be transparent. There should not be a headhunting firm to select the candidates to choose from. There ought to be an announcement that we're looking for people to submit their names, and then the school board or committee of the school board needs to go through that list in a public way and say, you're off, you're on, and I don't want anybody messing with it but the school board. And then when they get down to their finalists, the community needs to meet them.
all right. Let me see. Okay. All right. We've opened up a nice can of worms. Now let's. We'll be over here for a second, and then we'll come right back over here. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask if we could get a snapshot of what the process has been in the past, because I feel like that's what they would be using as a baseline.
The last process took place 10 years ago and involved the employment, as I understand it, of a national search firm. So, excuse me. So Lance, they did what you're encouraging the board not to do. They got somebody to help them, and they immediately looked around the whole country for candidates. So I don't know about the process before that when Dr. Lindsay was chosen. All right. We're too young to know. Same process.
We've got two more comments over here, and then we'll come right over here. Carly's ready.
Okay, so one of them, I would hope that we would include some of our own constituents to be part of that process, right? And that would be like parents, teachers, or so it would be a tiered process. You know, you might have a bigger tier in the beginning. You know, have parents and teachers, and students, those three that work in the district, people that what they want is, interviewing process. So have people apply. I would hope that those people would have, at some point, have a voice in regards to that, because we're the people that actually work for the superintendent. And I'm saying students work for him because they want to make sure that they meet the goals that are set from our strategic plan. And then parents, they have their kids come to school. You would think they would have a voice about that. And then teachers that we work. Teachers meaning everyone incumbents in education. Educators, not just teachers. Oh, we've changed that. Educators, because it could be administration to ESPs to classroom teachers. We need to have a voice in regards to who we work for. Because sometimes, and then I agree with Lance, what Lance said. Sometimes we get people on the outside to do something that we want done internally, and then they don't have the same vision that we have. They, people we know what we want, and then when we get it, it would be incumbent on us. It's going to be our challenge, and it wouldn't be the challenge of saying that, oh, well, they hired them. We hired them. So I would hope that we would all have a say in regards to that.
Okay, we've got one more comment over here, and then we're coming over here.
I agree, and actually that was kind of what I was going to say, but I would like to see constituents from the county, parents, teachers, community members, to be on a committee at every step of that tier, to be involved in every conversation, whether it's narrowing down 100 candidates or narrowing down 3 candidates. I think that we need to have people that are not necessarily politically tied to certain politically tied being the ones solely making that decision. I'd like to see people that are involved in the county being at every step of that tier, helping make those decisions.
All right, thank you. All right, Carly?
I don't think I identified myself last time. I'm Katie Hanna. I have a son who just graduated from West and a daughter who just started West. And I agree with what you said about constituencies. I think this is so important that there be a student, a parent, a teacher, a business leader on this committee, and that you make sure that those people come from a variety of different walks of life as well. Somebody who doesn't have a lot of money, somebody who has a lot of money, somebody right in the middle, just so you can get a lot of different viewpoints. And I think that towards the end of the process, when you have a short list, it would be really great for there to be public meetings so that, as I think you said, that people should get to meet this person. And I think you can gauge a lot about how an audience reacts to a person. That will tell you a lot about how that person is going to work as a superintendent.
And you might, just hand it to Lauren if you want.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know that you actually have to have different people than other board members on the committee per se. I want to make sure that the board has the power in terms of selecting that person, but I do think when you get down to a short list, or even maybe before you get down to a really short list, the public needs to have a chance to meet those people. And the school board, I think, needs to be able to watch and listen to those interactions and see how that goes. Also, in terms of a search firm, I'm not completely opposed to that, but I think we have to be careful which search firms we use. The last search firm we used was not really a true search firm. It was basically a headhunting firm for the Broad Academy who placed those individuals in school systems, and we cannot do that again. I did want to say one thing going back to what I would like to see in a superintendent. I want to see someone who is a champion for community schools. We are the last urban school district in Tennessee that's kind of avoided the achievement school district process that Memphis and Nashville has already gone through. Hamilton County is about to go through it. We have one charter school. I hope that charter school is successful, but I want to see our funds staying with our public schools. I don't want to see us overrun by a bunch of other charter schools. And the way to do that is to champion those community schools, putting our money into those communities. We don't have failing schools. We have struggling communities. And we need to build them up so that all our schools are successful. And community schools is the way to do that. And I'm really appreciative that Dr. Thomas has already been a champion of that, and I hope that continues. We can't afford to lose that.
Okay, I think we had another one over here, Carly. I thought I saw another hand. Maybe not. All right. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Just to go back to what I said before, the teachers we have here in Knox County are great teachers. They do a lot, but on the other side of that, their hands are tied by the system, by the rules that are being put down to them. They're not being allowed to actually teach the curriculum that needs to be taught because they're having to appease the government side of it. And our teachers should be allowed to teach our kids. They shouldn't be forced to stick in this one little curriculum, teaching everybody this same way, because nobody learns exactly the same. Everybody learns different. And to be honest with you, I learned that the hard way last year when I got custody of these kids, because that autistic child learns 110% different than the 13-year-old in the 8th grade. And they need to be allowed to teach. And as far as the selection process goes, I think everybody should have an input in it. I agree with these other people that there should be board members, parents, leaders of the community involved in it. I don't see where that would be an issue, because if everybody's involved, then we made this selection as a community together, which is what it needs to be in the first place. That way this individual is going to have the support of the entire community instead of having the support of the administration who hired him, and then the parents not feeling like they're being kept in the loop.
Thank you very much. Abby, if you would, and by the way, this isn't easy work to scribe, so let's all thank Abby for working really hard tonight. Board members who are here, and we have several additions. If it's okay, Buzz, I'll just mention Lynn Fugit, Gloria Deathridge. We've got Chairman Dave Wright in the back from County Commissioner. Is there anything else you all want to know from our folks here tonight? And then I'm going to let Buzz wrap us up here. Just respect everybody's time.
Anything else? All right. I want to do two things. One, I want to say something on behalf of our Board of Education. I think the board will really work hard at getting community and teacher and parent and student input. They won't be able to delegate their statutory responsibility to anybody else. I mean, so we can't really put together a selection committee that has people other than the board on it. They are legally charged with hiring the superintendent. But they can create a process that will lead to them picking among people that have been vetted with the community and the teachers and the parents. So I think there's a way to get where a lot of you want to go, but I didn't want you to feel upset with your board member or disappointed if when at the end of the process, those 9 people up there making the decision, that's what they have to do by state law. So I want to say that on their behalf, but I know how much they appreciate your all's suggestions. We got a lot of rich suggestions, both on the kind of person you want them to consider and the process that you would like to see them follow. So as I said at the beginning, before we go, if you have additional thoughts, we'll have another bigger meeting like this next Tuesday at 5:30 at Bearden Middle School. And we've got a website. And you can just email us or come up here and write us a note right here. But you can also email us at superintendent search @knoxschools.org. Thank you. God bless you. And I look forward to this conversation going forward. Good night.